Hello there! It's summertime and we have the long days and beautiful weather at the moment. So I thought it's time for another episode of my bike spotting videos in Munich. When I'm around town on events like this here, Critical Mass Munich, I always can't resist but spot so many of the nice old vintage mountain bikes. And also other old steel frame bikes. I don't know, I automatically have an eye for them and can't overlook them. So here I want to share these nice bikes with you and some thoughts about them. We directly start with a bike I recorded still in winter, but that's the only winter bike we have in here in this video. And it's such a nice Koga Miata build. I'm not sure what model this is, I think World Traveler. But yeah, it looks so nice and it's such a cool build. I've not seen a bullhorn bar on a randonneur bike before, but it somehow made sense. I also like the 2x drivetrain and this mix of modern components and the old components. So cool. My favorite Koga Miata also was locked somewhere in my neighborhood. And here we have some nice old Kuwahara. Probably a quite rare, very early model by them, maybe 86 or 87. You don't see them very often. You rather often see the string paint job ones. And I was a bit sad to see it rust in the streets with rubbish in the basket, flat rear tire, rusty chain. Don't know what's going on there. A really nice track I saw here in the streets, and I don't see the larger sizes of these frames very often. And yeah, the seat lug is just so cool. Here we have some older Miata frame I spotted downtown with friction shifters, triple butted tubing. And yeah, the special thing about it is that it's not Koga Miata, but Miata, so must be quite old. Here maybe someone can tell me the remains of what model these are. Here a classical German bicycle traveler with roll-off speed hub, steel frame, Magura brakes and sun lighting. Some fancy bikes here of brands I didn't know before, with light steel frames and XTR M900 components. Fancy. On the other side we can see the Ritchie Logic tubing. Never heard of the brand Climber. More XTR downtown Munich. What else can you get if you have a vintage mountain bike in Munich? I also here don't know what frame that is. And the inexpensive Continental Double Fighter tires are quite a contrast to the XTR. Some very interesting Alpine Stars elevated chainstay frame. If you ask me, the construction looks too wide, almost as if you would touch it while pedaling. Before filming this one here, I made a compliment to the owner about the bike, and the only thing he told me was that it's like 10,000 euros. Okay, Munich. Nice bike by two tired cycles from Regensburg at the Freitag store Munich, where there was a special event. He might still have it for sale. And this was interesting. Also the bike and the frame, but for me in particular, these tires. I don't know that they're Schwalbe Marathon efficiency for 26 inches. Maybe there was a prototype. Then to some bikes at the Deutsches Verkehrsmuseum in Munich. Oh my, this early Centurion is so beautiful. Look at these shifters and The beautiful frame color, these very old wide rims and tires, the XC Suntour components. What a dream. I have never seen this specific version of the Suntour power thumb shifters online for sale, ever. There was also some history about Centurion as a brand and how the name Lhasa Kathmandu came for one of their models. Also other iconic mountain bikes were in the museum, but I don't want to spoil the exhibition to you and show all of them here. The Yeti has such beautiful seat and chainstays. Wow. And for a lover of wide rims, Mavic Rando M5 are legendary. Some pure eye candy there. But also in the streets of Munich, there's more eye candy. Look at this awesome old Koga Miata touring bike. 700C wheels, canties, Velo orange stem and handlebars, upright riding position, nice shiny fenders. Just awesome. Somewhere out of Munich I spotted this very old mountain bike. Maybe that's a Centurion or something else. Suntour power thumb shifters, a nice frame, and then bear trap pedals and a deer head rear derailleur. Wow. And still seems to be in regular usage after more than 40 years. Someone's cycling in a very stylish manner here downtown Munich with this beautiful Panasonic Touring Deluxe with Dior 2 components, Tange steel frame and a normal handlebar with thumbies instead of drop bars. At some point at night I spotted this nice drop bar conversion with a front basket. Awesome. Nice checker pick here with Tange Prestige frame. Really cool, and I like the logo. And I personally think also Kettler aluminum bikes don't have to hide. Especially this one here. Beaten up Swiss Cersei bike, also with thumb shifters and nice silver components, even Columbus tubing. Way too precious to be thrown in the streets like this. Some twin bikes I spotted here. Two 26-inch mountain bikes with Maxxis DTH tires, V-brakes and front baskets. Super cool. Probably some friends put them together. Also like the paint jobs of both bikes and the fact that there are some nice XT components here on this one. Another old Koga Miata beauty. Some Forerunner, I think, in very nice purple and still with the original frame pump. Koga Miata, just my favorite bicycle brand. This bicycle I built up for the bicycle flea market, so where one could sell their old bicycles. And yeah, I built it up with a Thumby for a 1x drivetrain, some affordable V-brakes, then fenders with mud flap, a kickstand, and otherwise the original components. Really lovely Italian frame in my opinion. Quite high also for a step-through frame. And also I like these white fur rims, an Italian brand I think. The bicycle flea market was a lot of fun and there were also quite some interesting bikes to see. But overall I was not that happy with my experience of being there. My impression was that people really were looking for bikes as cheap as possible and at the same time well equipped and maintained, which just doesn't work. So my conversations there were either, oh wow, it's cheap, but it doesn't have this and that, or, oh wow, it has everything I need, but it's too expensive. Well, it sucked. The same evening I spotted some more Kuwahara. The lion is also a favorite of mine, which I would like to own in XL one day. At one of the train stops I spotted the South Tyrol bicycle brand Troga with this model here. It looks like it has been ridden from and to train station for years. Also a nice Dawes being there, alongside Cersei, which we have seen earlier. This brand has some really nice 700C vintage bikes. Another checker pick was also at the train station, and I like this nickel-plated raw finish. I took some time to film the bicycles and eventually missed my train. The sacrifices one makes for the hobby. Really good tire clearance also for an old 700C bike, maybe fits 29ers. Then I saw this beautiful 1987 Koga Miata Adventure, a 650B bike from the 80s. How rare is that, please? Another nice 700C lugged steel frame bicycle I spotted in northern Germany when I was visiting friends and family. Always a surprise seeing something good up there, because high quality bikes are much more rare where I come from. Also very basic 26-inch mountain bike was at the same train station. I can't identify the brand, maybe it's a Diamant from Saxony? Not sure. Maybe a steel Kettler? Oh my. Alright, ending the bike spotting here. Hope you liked it. The rest of the video is some working on my bike and a little side note on like what a bicycle like this is worth. So my plans for this Duncelli steel bike were to build it up again for this bicycle flea market on a budget, and also sell it on a budget to someone who would hopefully appreciate it. So I mostly used the original parts of it and some parts here from my parts bin, and also some new ones such as the brakes, because I didn't want to use the mismatching old cantilever brakes that were on the bicycle, and there are some quite affordable decent V-brakes out there. I also decided to go one by, for the simple reason that this bike was just intended for city only, and I had one thumb shifter I really wanted to use on this bike and not the matching one for the front chainring. So yeah, I reassembled the bike after I had cleaned the frame and cleaned some parts also, a little bit at least, and the plan was to sell it, and in the end I sold it for 150 euros. After multiple people had already taken down the offer and said no, that the bike wasn't something for them, even though they had made a test ride. And only after selling it, I noticed that I also invested 150 euros into it, which I didn't know. I thought for all the work I had put in here and all the considerations, I had at least made a little plus, a little profit, even though this is never my intention. I mostly do this for fun. But that was a bit disappointing to me and an eye-opener, that there really is no money in these old bicycles, if you ask me, because it's really hard to find people that appreciate them in the same way as I or others who work on bicycles like this do, and then are at the same time ready to pay a quite high amount of money that would in some regard appreciate the old bike and the work and considerations that went into it. So maybe this explains a bit more to you why I had quite negative experiences with this bicycle flea market and will probably not go there again next year. Alright, that's really it for this video. Hope you like the bike spotting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.